Yo, what is up guys, it's your man I Do It Barber, and I'm back with another haircut tutorial. And in this one we're gonna do a comb over with a drop fade, taking it down the skin. So first I'm starting off with the 3.5 blade, removing bulk because I want to make sure I have a nice clean canvas before we start putting in guidelines. And I highly recommend this for any beginners out there. Do not try to fade in the bulks of hair because it's easy for a beginner to get lost who doesn't have experience. So that is what I'm doing here. And now I have my 2 blade on and I'm going right underneath the 3.5, basically creating my guidelines in reverse. So as you'll see in the video, my guidelines will be put in reverse. So typically we'll put a guideline in with the open lever, then you put it in with the 1.5, typically is what a lot of people do. But I'm basically doing this in reverse. So I cleared out the bulk with the 3, came right underneath that with the 2. Now you see the open lever, and I'm basically tracing the guideline that I replicated with the 3.5. So if you see that bulk of hair at this parietal ridge, this open lever, I'm creating the guideline there. And now I've closed the lever on the clipper, and this is going to be my bald guideline. So as you see that panel there, the light panel which was created with the lever open, this is, like I was saying, me putting the guidelines in reverse. And now I'm going right underneath that with a 5-0 blade, and I'm basically getting it a little bit extra bald. This is essentially the equivalent of using your trimmers. I know a lot of people bald out with trimmers for some strange reason, but I use a detachable 5-0 blade and it's 0 gapped. So now we're gonna get into fading out this panel. But before we do that, I'm gonna retrace this guideline because I wanna expand it a little bit. Wanna make sure it's equal before we start fading. So now, as you see, I'm dropping the lever and I'm going already into fading out this guideline. So as you see there, the line is slowly fading away already. And his hair fades really easy. And it, of course, you know, his hair looks good when faded. And I like cutting his hair. It's pretty easy to cut. You know, no matter what system you use, no matter what clippers you use. If you've seen the other video I did with him, I was using the wall fade blade, and you know, the fade came out good, overall style. So now as you see, the lever is almost closed and I'm attacking that bottom line. Now this bottom line is easy for me to get out because, as you saw, I put the guideline in with the lever closed on the masters, which is essentially a 3-0, and these masters are 0 gapped if you're curious. So it's really easy for me to remove this bottom line because I didn't put it in with trimmers, or I didn't put it in with the 5-0. So now the lever is fully closed, and as you can see, I'm using the corners here just to buff out any hard lines that may have been left or maybe lingering. But like I say, it's not too difficult to remove them. It's actually very easy.
This is a Chucky Beat production.
And all these steps are very simple, guys. Just follow the system. Trust your system and be confident in your system before you move on. So now I'm on to the next step, and I've got my Andis Masters with the Fat Master blade on, and the lever is completely open, and I'm going right underneath the 2, which essentially, honestly, I'm really going all the way up through the 2. I'm actually going all the way up to the 3.5. As you can see there, that line of demarcation that I created is a lot more pronounced, but it's okay because I'm going to come back with the 3.5 and the 2 and get that all done. And the same thing as with the open lever, I started big, or I started open, and I worked my way small to the bottom of the line. And so it's basically me putting in the guideline and I slowly erase it by reducing bulk. This is called blending, when you slowly remove weight. And I like it because you can control the blend, you can control the contrast of the blend, whether you want to have it more compressed or not. And I always tell people, if you want to have a compressed blend, just compress your guidelines. Or a good system for that is fading down. Fading down is a really good way at doing so, because you can really control the contrast and the placement of the blend. So as you see there, this line is slowly disappearing, and we're almost closed, and now there we are, we're closed. So as you see, you'll see me using a lot of the entire blade, but I will also use some of the corners in certain areas. That area in the temple, typically for most people, it's very easy to remove the lines that are left there. I'm not sure why. I wish I knew the magical reason why that is. And of course, it gets harder to remove lines once you get back to the occipital bone. But as barbers, we all know this. This isn't a secret. We all know this, so we should know how to act and act accordingly once we're presented with these problems. You know, this is what I want you guys to remember. This stuff's really easy. It's not that difficult. You just have to know how to react to certain situations when you're presented with a problem. Typically, you will face a lot of the same problems, and when you have experience, you know how to deal with these problems. So as you see, levers closed, and I'm just detailing through here, through the back, and I'm using the corners a lot. And you see the fade is coming out pretty good. And I went back with my masters with the lever open and coming in with the corners, just detailing a little bit of this area, because his hair is kind of growing a little, it kind of grows back in a way. If you could look at it there, you can kind of see how his hair grows backwards almost on the side. It grows down, but it grows backwards in a sense, which is kind of weird. But of course, when you're trying to fade, you want to fade in the opposite direction in which the hair grows. So as you see there, that's pretty faded. So now, as I said earlier, I'm going to come back with the 3.5, because I took that open lever of the master, or the master with the fat master blade. I took it all the way up to the 3.5. So now I have to go up even higher, which is no problem because I intended on doing this anyway. It's just when you remove bulk, you typically don't go that high because you may not know how high you need to go into a fade. And I just didn't want to go too high. So 3.5, now 2. So as you see there, I'm with the 2. I'm being a little bit more delicate the way I'm stroking the 2. With the 3.5, I was really liberal the way I went in there. I was really aggressive. But with the 2, you can see I'm going up in there. I'm using the corners, and I'm mixing up my pressure. I'm not applying the same pressure, which really, when you're using these clippers, there's no need to apply tons of pressure. And I went back with my fast masters, and I'm just tidying up some of this area. But like I was saying, you don't need to use a lot of pressure, because if you press on the blades that you use, it's going to slow down the clipper. You guys can try this if you want. So essentially, pressing hard on someone's head, 1, is not comfortable for the client, and then 2, is not good for the clipper because it's not going to cut as powerful or as fast as it normally would. So just light pressure is all you need. And I have clipper over comb here to tidy up some of the parietal ridge where it goes from like longer to shorter. But we're going to use scissors through the parietal ridge anyway, but I just want to connect some of that short hair to the hair that's on the top. And you'll see that here in a second. So as I saturate his hair, I'm getting ready to cut the top with the scissors. I just want to make sure his hair is completely saturated, because his hair is actually pretty thick. So I had to really get his hair saturated in there. And all I'm doing is I'm starting from his crown, and I'm going to work my way forward. And I'm just going up section by section, inch sections, as I work my way forward. And with this one, I'm point cutting. I'm not blunt cutting his hair. As you can see, I want the texture to show. I want it to not lay so flat as if I were to come through and blunt cut it. And even if I do, sometimes I'll do it where I do blunt cut someone's hair. I will come back and follow up with the blending scissors just to soften it up. But this one, I wanted to come in straight away and use the point cutting technique. So as you see there, I'm removing some length and adding texture at the same time. So I'm taking about an inch off, as you see. And point cutting is very easy, not too difficult of a technique. So now as that's finished, you see I'm doing scissor under finger. So I'm coming in underneath, I'm pulling the hair up to at 90 degrees, and I'm going underneath my finger and taking out some of the weight, just reducing some of the weight, lightening his hair. He doesn't wear tons of product, so I want to make his life easier. So now we're going to connect the top with the side. So as you see that hair, it's like excessive amount of hair that hangs over. We got to cut all of that because what creates a line of demarcation is the weight above it. In any fade, like if you're doing a fade, if you see a line, what's creating that line is the weight above it. And that's what you're seeing here. A lot of that hair that hangs over, and you might look at his parietal ridge and it sits heavy. It's because of all of that weight above it. And that's what we're doing there. We're just cutting it. So now we're gonna soften it even more. I'm just gonna use my blended scissors and just come through here and detail the side of that. And these cut off about 30% with each cut, so I can go in and be very liberal with the way I use them, which is great. So now we're gonna do part of his edge up. We're not gonna go too crazy. We're gonna keep it nice and clean. I don't want to exaggerate anything. I just want this to be nice and clean. And just going to do the same thing on the other side. Just follow simple steps. We're just doing the box and the little curve here. We're not going to do the front because we like to keep that natural with him. And I think it's overall a better look. So now I went back to my 5-0 and we're gonna remove all of that bulk. And you guys might be wondering, why did I leave all the bulk there at the bottom? I don't know, guys. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I actually like it because it can save you time. Honestly, with the haircut, it really can save you time because now I can come in with the shaver and then just come in instead of having to worry about fighting with the shaver line, which as you see, like I didn't create any lines with the shaver after doing this. But the key is setting your tools up properly, where me coming underneath that shaver into my 5-0 to not create a line. So my tools are set up properly. I made a video on that if you guys are curious. This will help you out a lot. So now we're just blow drying, medium heat, high speed. And we're doing a comb over, adding a little bit of volume. And I'm just trying to get his hair to lay flat. Very, very simple. Following my comb with the blow dryer in unison. It's working together like it's one machine, just like how you do scissor over comb, that the steel blade lays flat to the spine of the comb and the cutting blade moves and you move with it. So same thing with the blow dryer and the styling brush. So as you see there, I'm putting some cement in his hair and we're just styling them out. So let me know what you guys think of the haircut in the comments below if it was helpful. Any of the tools you saw me use in this video will be linked in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And this is the finished style. So like I said, guys, let me know what you think. If you found this helpful, please share it with anyone. And, just get active in the comment section. Let me know if you guys want to see anything else. I've got a few other good videos. Actually, if you want to see this video more in depth and get a little bit more detailed, check the channel for that one. That will be dropping soon. But it's been your man, I do it, signing out. I'll holla.